Diego, how are you? Could you start by introducing yourself just so people know who I'm talking to?
Absolutely. Hi, Philip. So my name's Diego Flores, and I'm from Costa Rica. I'm right now working on creating my own consulting business, just starting, and I joined your mentoring program a few months back.
What was it, 3, 4 months ago, something like that?
It was about like 4 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you wind back the clock and talk about what your business looked like 4 months ago? I know you said you're starting, but paint the picture a little bit for people.
Previous to working with you, basically what I was doing is I was freelancing and Upwork, like side gig friends or people that knew me, and uh, also I currently have a time job, so still working for a company, still employee. But I came to the mentoring program, I was really thinking I wanted to start a more formal consulting business. So that's the reason I started working with you.
Okay. And your discipline is project management, right? Just so people can kind of understand where you're coming from.
Yes, that's right. So my experience has been 5 years working there, just on technical projects, mostly with software development teams. And so I had experience in different types of projects, but it was really difficult at that time for me to understand whether there was a particular area. And as I read your stuff and as I read the different books that you publish, whether I could niche down with the experience that I had and the projects that I've worked with.
Okay. So why did you want to do something different? Why not just do this on your own, or, what led you to sign up for the mentoring program?
I'm a big believer in getting the right guidance. So for me, it was a matter of probably stumbling upon a lot of errors and mistakes throughout maybe years of business development, or accelerating the learning growth, accelerating success,
Mm-hmm.
and also just starting with the right foot. And I know that the big time, it's still going to take time,
Mm-hmm.
and guidance. So that was the key thing that I looked for when I joined.
Okay. So what concerns did you have about the program before you started? Like, what questions did you have? Like, is this really going to work, or that kind of thing?
I knew that a lot of the mentoring program was going to involve research
Mm-hmm.
and provide a lot of insights from the market and from people that I've worked with, etc. And I had a portfolio of people that I had worked with, but it was not a lot. So one of the concerns was like the necessary background, etc., to work through the program. And so when I joined, you were very clear that yes, that's something that definitely accelerates things, but enough, patient enough to give me guidance as to how to look for more people to talk to, customers to research. And so we started a little bit slower, but eventually I got to talk with very interesting agencies around Costa Rica, Latin America, etc. And another thing that you really helped me with was providing contacts. So people that you knew in your network that would be valuable and helpful for my research, that really, really boosted the work that I was doing.
Yeah. Most people do set up those interview calls using email, and one of the things that really impressed me about you is you started doing some cold calling. That wasn't
Yeah,
the only way you did it, but you really sort of took it to the next level with that.
that was a fun experiment. And, it might be the culture in Costa Rica, or it might be just the fact that I don't dread it that much, but it was very effective.
Yeah.
And so I took the same templates that you provided for the email, and I just started calling people, and a lot of them were very responsive. And those conversations were priceless. They gave
Hmm.
me so much guidance, and they really helped me narrow down the positioning into the business that I'm trying to launch right now.
Okay. So, and so we're about 4 weeks, or sorry, 4 months in. and you've done a lot of research. What did that research lead to, or how did it help you clarify and move forward?
So it's been very valuable because now that I have a more positioned audience, or at least I know that I want to focus on a particular audience, I know where to find them.
Mm-hmm.
I know what type of use when researching on LinkedIn, on Google, forums, etc. In the conversations that I've had with them, it was fairly clear the problems that they had, and it simplifies a lot what marketing and what solutions I could provide.
Mm-hmm.
So what that led to is, with you working to create assets, working to create a website, working to create webinars and pilots that I could use to lure the audience in and actually help them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a very, very safe process for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm risk averse. I think I like to do things in a way that's that allows for me to know that it's going to be easier for me to be successful. And because I am transitioning from employment into consulting, safe is a good word throughout the process.
Very much so. I would expect that from someone who has a project management background, but that you're right. That's also very desirable for someone who wants to own a business, is to understand where the risk is and be able to manage it. So you also participated in the pilot group of the Commodity Prison Break Boot Camp. What was that like? How did that fit into this process for you?
It was like a great way to get out something, to ship something. And so I went from nothing to having assets that I can funnel requests. If I get in touch with a client and now they want to know more about my services, it's going to be fairly easy to just send them to my service offering page. And also, it's a great base to continue working faster to get out marketing assets out. So blog posts or screencasts or webinars, etc. For someone that had nothing just 1 month ago, and now I feel like there's a name to my business and there's a basic structure to the business, it's incredibly satisfying.
That's great. So, what do things look like today? I know you're just starting to like be approached or have potential client relationships come up. What's the sort of status today?
I'm waiting. Okay, so right now, what I did is I started contacting the different customer interviews that I did in the beginning of the mentorship program. And now I have the assets to show them exactly what I'm talking about and what I'm offering. So specifically, one of those contacts right now is probably going to help me create a pilot, give the first service offering out, get feedback on the offer, and understand whether I'm providing the right solutions and helping actually someone. So that's extremely valuable. It's going to help me improve things a lot, probably land some concepts to the ground. And besides that, I have a webinar in the pipeline. I will start contacting people throughout Latin America, specifically the audience that I'm trying to reach, which is nearshore software development teams. And those are two specific pilots that I think are going to provide a lot much more value than just wondering what I could do to grow the business. So it's going to be exciting in the next few weeks.
Very good. So, what kind of person or business do you think that this mentoring program is ideal for?
I think it requires someone that is willing to set the time aside to work on their business. I sometimes had to get a good check, or get myself in check at least, so that the next week I had something to show. And that was exciting and scary at the same time. But for sure, it allowed me to progress and much faster than I would do on my own. So setting the time aside and putting in the work, those are two things that are definitely required. And what type of business? I've honestly seen a lot of different people on the group,
Mhm.
and that's also valuable. That diversity. So I see freelancers that are working on the technical aspects of their business. I've seen marketers. I've seen customer researchers. Um, of course, all of these people with names and last names, and it's also valuable connections that I have for the future.
Mhm.
So it's something that I really appreciate. But I think it's mostly for someone that wants to put in the work for their business.
Did you track your time? I'm curious, as a project manager, did you track the time throughout, or do you have an, if you did not, do you have some kind of estimate of maybe how many hours each week you spent on it?
So I didn't track the time, but what I
Mhm.
did is I set myself meetings throughout the week. So I had blocked like 1 hour every afternoon to work on marketing assets. That was mostly throughout the bootcamp. Um, and then, of course, the hours from the mentorship program, I usually had a lot of things to prepare beforehand. So that was like 4 hours
Mhm.
uh, on the day of the call that we had with the group.
Okay.
And also, I set aside Saturdays. So
Okay.
it's definitely a lot of time that I've invested in it. But I think it's something that helped me a lot and advance much faster.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's why you are where you are today, with this clarity you have about who you want to sell your services to, and this clarity about what you want to offer them. So,
Yeah,
who would this program not be a good fit for, in your opinion?
that's a good question. I wonder whether maybe a big company could benefit from the group experience. That's
Hmm.
probably more a one-on-one thing that they would
Right.
like to do. Um, but I don't know. I'm starting. I'm just starting, and it worked for me. And I've seen people that have already a business and they want to reposition it to a new one. So I can't think of someone specifically right now.
Okay, that's fine.
I will just circle back to the fact that if you know yourself and you know that it's going to be hard for you, that you're going to use the typical excuse, which is, it's just not a good time right now. It's probably never going to be a good time to work on the
Mm,
business because there's always hectic things going on.
mm.
That would be like the one qualification that I would give.
Okay. So, what, as you think back over the last 4 months, is there anything else that really sticks out in your mind that you would want, you would want to tell the Diego of 4 months ago? Diego, you should really know this about what this thing you're getting into. What would you tell him that we haven't talked about already?
Um, well, I would say you're gonna have a lot of clarity on the skills that you're gonna provide. Because I'm just starting, that was difficult at the beginning. So making that portfolio of experiences that you have and having clarity on what's exactly at least the solutions, the knowledge that you want to focus on, that should have sped up a lot the research process.
Hmm.
And the second thing that I would say is just cold call people.
Start cold calling sooner, right?
I remember in the beginning, like I procrastinated something. I procrastinated a little bit the emailing
Mhm.
different businesses because I didn't know like who to research and who to contact. So picking up the phone helped me a lot. That was something that I would tell myself. I don't know if other people, but definitely myself.
I think everybody should have to cold call at least once in their life. um, okay, so Diego, how can people go check out your baby but growing business online if they're curious and want to find out more?
Yeah, they just have to go to growth.pm,
Mm.
and I'm gonna continue working on it. And if you have any sort of feedback, there's a nice call to action that Philip helped me set up. So just get in touch with me. But yeah,
Sign up for
growth.
that free consultation.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, for folks who maybe have wandered across this online, this is just a short story about my positioning mentoring program, which you can find out more about at positioningmentoringprogram.com. if you're curious, just sign up for the waiting list. I tell you when there's more seats available, and you can always reply to any email you get from me if you have questions. Diego, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you spending some time to talk about what it was like for you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.